Everybody, welcome to another episode of Chasing Collectibles Catchup. I'm Tyler, and super excited for today's guest. We've been talking about doing this for a good bit, and he's always here, there, and everywhere. It's Todd Lacey of Todd Venture. So, Todd, thank you for joining us today.
It's good to be here.
And we're recording this on January 31st. Probably won't come out for about a week. So, hopefully by then, North Carolina will be open. I don't know after
Yeah,
all this snow.
crazy snow. Yep,
Yes. So I think they're saying
that
this is like the most snow we've gotten in many, many years.
many years. Yeah, that it canceled me out of a few. There were a couple events going on today that we couldn't go to, so
Yeah.
because of it. Yeah, so can't those events were canceled, and yeah, which was a smart thing. I wouldn't be driving in this stuff. That's
No.
for sure.
What? Well, I think it was last week. There was like two conventions in a row that have been postponed because I think last weekend was the Spartan. There's a Spartanburg one. Then this
Yep,
weekend they had the Charlotte mini
Charlotte
con.
Comic Con, Minicon.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly. Yep.
yep.
So, but probably the smart, like you said, smart move. We don't want people driving and all this.
No, no, not at all. Not even if it. You saw that dire vintage toy or collectible that you wanted at this convention, it's not worth risking it. So
No, not at all.
definitely
Yeah.
don't. No, no.
Well,
But
well, so, well, so you do all these videos. You've done tons and tons of videos. I was looking as we were preparing for this, just like looking at all the videos you've done over the years, places you
right,
visited.
right,
What kind of inspired you to start doing these vlogs from like all across the state, and some you've even like done from other states? And
right.
what kind of inspired this?
Um, believe it or not, years ago, which I still watch him once in a while, is there. Well, there was two people. There was um Rick Steves, who does a lot of
Mhm.
travel videos on PBS, and then it was I want to say Sarah Brown, or oh, I can't remember her name, but it was a female who did a lot of travel videos. And then I did while I grew up in television, and my dad was a journalist. He was a director. He was an anchor. He did a lot of shows and things like that. So I would travel with him during the summertime when he would do junkets in LA, and I'd go with him, and we'd meet all kinds of fun celebrities and hang out with them. And over the years, a lot of people at that time were unknown but are well known now. Um, so I would travel with him, and then we did a big trip back in the early 70s. We had a camper, and we traveled all over the United States, and I felt like it'd be kind of cool to share those experiences with people
Yeah.
over time. And so when the technology caught up to us, I was able to do that with what we have now, because I wasn't a big editor or anything like that. Because on film 8 millimeter at that point, or 16 millimeter, we didn't have all that equipment and all that kind of stuff. We had the film, but we didn't have the equipment to edit, which you do now. It's there all the time. But now it was funny because the first video I did, if you ever watched my first video, as far as with the Todd Venture channel, was of my dog and just taking him out and do his business. That was the funny part. It was like it was like if you ever watch it, it's hilarious. My dog Murphy, he's passed away though a while back, but he had a little attitude, and so I said, "Well, I'm going to film him going outside with me," and it was just for fun. So most of my
Right.
early videos were just for fun. They weren't, And then people said you should do more stuff and kind of carry on your dad's legacy too, because we would travel over to Europe and he would film there too for his TV show. I don't know if you're from North Carolina. He had Good Morning Carolina, Sunday in Carolina.
Okay. Yeah.
Those shows back in the day, and so a
Mm.
lot of his stuff would be put. He would have his stuff on there. So um, YouTube became a great media to use to be able to share that with everybody. And I'm just noticing more and more people are watching YouTube than watching regular TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really taking effect. I mean, I get a lot of my friends of the channel that always comment on that. They always like what's coming up next. Then one day I was flipping through YouTube. This is about 10 or 12, well, 10 or 11 years ago. And there was this one guy that I started watching, and he was doing abandoned places and then traveling too. Like, and he's doing side road attractions, things like that, amusement parks. And that was Adam the Woo. And I started watching Adam, and I was like, that's pretty cool that he's doing that. And, we're sharing his life with people and traveling across the United States. He started with a van, and then then he got a camper, and just going to really cool places. And that kind of inspired me. So I was fortunate enough years later to have met him and do a few videos with him.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, and unfortunately, last month he passed away, and which was just devastating to a lot of us who knew him, and especially his close friends. But he inspired so many people to do that
Mhm.
and share your experiences and share small towns, attractions, and that I just love doing it. And then and I also like people that kind of vicariously go through my videos because a lot of these people can't do that, physically,
Right.
not just financially. They physically can't do it, and they always comment and send me messages and really appreciate it. And I love doing it for them and sharing those experiences. And then some people can't go to the shows that I do, the toy shows, the comic shows, amusement parks that I've done, things like that. So I love sharing those experiences with everybody.
Yeah.
And the channel's growing. So, and also make new friendships like meeting you, and developing
Right.
friendships with people. That's what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I, like about it as well, how you've mentioned like people who want to experience things. I know there's a lot of attention. Like my wife, when she used to be really into going to Disney, would watch like vlogs about going on the Disney cruises and going to the parks. And those videos are all great, but it's cool to have these videos and more like local stuff because that
Oh,
can
yeah.
then inspire people to go to maybe places they wouldn't normally go to and realize like, oh, I didn't realize, this was in Salisbury, or this was in, I don't know, Waxhaw or whatever. There's so many kind of cool
Right.
things to do in these smaller places.
Yeah. And I get that a lot too. Like if I go to a certain, like recently I did the Salty Jukebox, and I found them by accident. I said, that'd be kind of cool to cover that. And they were great. They, invited me in. We did an interview with one of the owners. And then other people didn't realize that was even there. It's in
Yeah.
Vale, North Carolina, and it's like I need to go to that place, and they'll tell me they didn't realize that was even there. And so I love promoting small businesses too, and getting their name out there, and hopefully, and get business going for them where they can grow and expand themselves. And it's something local, so
Mhm.
it's local. They're not big box stores, and they're
Yeah.
not Amazon, things like that, and it gets them out of the house and gets them to
Right.
do plan something with their family or with a date or things like that, or just something to do and get out and experience.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've liked too about these, like, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, like with the small towns, there's so many like hidden gems. And like I like to collect records and I'll go to
Right,
you know, um, these antique shops and you'll find like
right.
amazing deals on records. And you're like, this is like,
Oh
what is
yeah,
this doing here? It's $5 and or you'll find
yep.
just really interesting stuff,
Oh yeah.
great restaurants or great shops, is everything in these towns.
Well, if you're into vinyl, you yourself need to check out the Salty Jukebox. So,
Oh
and it's
yeah.
only, yeah, it's only about an hour out of Charlotte. It's on the other, kind of going other side of Gastonia, out
Mhm.
towards that way.
Okay.
But they've got an amazing vinyl collection there, and they have live music. They have musicians come in and play, and then during the warmer weather, they'll have outside concerts with food
Hmm.
trucks. So that's something if you're if you're in vinyl,
Yeah,
that's
that sounds awesome.
that's a place to go for sure. So and I've really made a lot of great friendships with a lot of these store owners, antique shops, things like that. And then because I watch other people too, I watch their videos and kind of learn. I'm a big, as you can tell behind me, a vintage toy collector. So I
Right.
collect a lot of different stuff of my era. And there's been other stuff that I've been interested in that more modern too. So, but yeah, especially stuff. I mean, there's some collectors out there, they buy it for buying it. I don't do that. Buy what you like. Buy
Yeah.
that, especially the nostalgia. That's what I'm mainly
Mhm.
into. Um, but there are people who, I'm not really there's people who are flippers too. I don't, they buy and
Mhm.
sell. I don't, do that. There, I've been thinking about getting out of the. I've got a lot of Funko Pops, so
Yeah.
I mean, I'll keep certain ones, but I'm thinking about I might sell some of those. Kind of, just monetize. Get my stuff down. My collection has grown quite a bit in that area, so I just want to kind of minimize that more. So
Yeah. And
just little things like that.
right, we get the same advice to people too. I mean, I know we sell comic books, so like, ultimately we do have to we buy and we flip. But like
Right.
personally with our collections, like, no, buy what you like.
Sure.
If you're buying
Right.
something for the sake of selling it, unless you're
Right.
like in it as a vendor, like it can be hard to like know when's the price going to go
Sure.
up, when's it go, to go down. So
Yeah, and that's one thing. The market is always changing, and especially with toys. So, one week it could be worth, $30, and next week it could be worth 10. So,
right.
but that's why I buy it, because, what I buy is something that really appeals to me, and I like, and I'll
Yeah.
keep my collection. But there are some stuff that I can understand for, especially for vendors. If you're a full time seller too, I can understand that. But I also know people who have their personal collection to one side, then they'll do it if they're doing it for profit. They have it on the other side, or
Yeah.
they have doubles or triples of that same item. So I can understand that. That's if
Mhm.
you're making a living, that's a big difference from being a collector too. But a lot of the vendors are collectors as well, and they'll
Yeah.
have their own collection of certain things, or they want to trade with you. I get a lot of that too. They want to know what you have.
Hmm.
There might be something that you could trade with for your own collection as well. So,
Yeah.
yep,
We joke about this all the time. My business partner Tim, he's always like, we'll go and we'll go to a con, we'll do okay. I'm like, all right, good. We did decent. He's like, I'll be right back. He leaves,
right.
he comes back with like, here's this Ghostbusters toy from the '80s. I was like, Tim, we just,
No,
we want to go home with
right.
something.
Got to make a little profit, and yeah, that's like Pixel Dan. I'll watch him, and kind of the same thing. He's a big collector, but there's time he'll sell stuff too at the shows, but he'll end up going and buying more than
Mhm.
profit wise. You like they're like negative. They'll make a
Right.
profit, then they'll lose that profit from a purchase that he would make. So, but yeah, Pixel Dan. I'll watch him. I'll watch Froggy Flips. Um, and I remember watching when I first started watching him. He was basically a yard sale type person. He wasn't really a big toy collector, and then he finally went into more of the toys and stuff like that. And he does the same thing. Well, here he'll flip certain ones that he'll purchase, but he does have an amazing private collection that he
Yeah.
shares with people. That you can see. I'm in the process of probably when warmer weather comes, as I get my studio done, because I've had a lot of people ask me they want to see my stuff. So this is my office, so I'll have stuff here, but I'm going to have a new studio where you'll see all
Oh
just a
yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
stuff.
That'd make for a cool
And
tour when you get that all set up.
exactly. So, because right now, the majority of it is in totes, so, and well over
Well,
100 totes. So,
nice. Wow. Well, you mentioned earlier with the like kind of like making a date out of things. I know that you've a lot of your
right,
videos like you go with your wife Connie, and I've been
right,
to different towns with my wife like Mia, and we'll go to
right.
we've been to Waxhaw, we've been Kannapolis, Salisbury. There's so many cool places. What's that like? Being able to go with like not just doing the videos, but also somebody you care about. It's gonna be fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's funny because when I first started doing this, she didn't want to be in front of the camera at all. She didn't want anything to do with it. So eventually she started doing it. And what's fun is that when I go out now to do videos, and if I'm by myself doing them, and somebody recognizes me, because a lot of people recognize my voice, they can hear me down the
Hmm.
hallway. Oh, that sounds like Todd Venture.
Yeah.
Um, and they'll come up and talk to me, and they're looking around kind of over my shoulder, and they'll say, "Where's Connie?"
Right.
Because they want to see Connie and meet her. And so when people have recognized us out in the public, which they have, which is crazy, they're always excited to see her, and
Hmm.
she likes that. It's kind of cool that she's really into that too. Is that and they always people are so polite, so nice, and they're always thanking us for what we do, and she adds a lot to it. A lot of what I'm noticing too, and even Adam the Woo told me that he notices that a lot of couples are doing more videos together and
Hmm.
actually getting pretty popular when they see the husband and wife do it together. So yeah, she enjoys doing it. A lot there's times where she can't do it because of certain things she's other activities she's got to
Hmm.
do. We now have 6 dogs. We lost one of our other ones. We had 7 dogs up to about last week. One of our dogs recently passed away, and but we have 6 dogs, so that can
Be a bit of a
really,
handful, I'm sure.
yeah. So it's like we either have to get home early or she can't go because of she has to take one of the dogs to the vet.
Right.
Things because they're our kids. So there are times people wonder where's Connie, and that's usually what it is. There's something going on with either one of the dogs or she's got something other plans, of course.
Hmm.
But I try to do 1 or 2 videos a week. There was a point where I was doing a bunch, but sometimes you gotta relax a little bit, and
Yeah.
it can be overwhelming. You just gotta, and people understand that.
Hmm.
You got other things you've got to do. So, but it's funny because a lot of the antique stuff is really taken off. A lot of people love when I go to the antique places, and I really didn't realize that would do as well as they have, and they've done pretty good. People love seeing the antique shops, and I'm discovering new ones. And it also, the friends of the channel, they'll send me messages, "Hey, go check this out." So I'm learning from them too,
Yeah.
and they're giving me suggestions. And I always tell people, please suggest something you
Yeah.
want to see, or what other. So I definitely take that up on the offer when they ask me to do that. I'll, yeah, sure, definitely. Yep.
Is there like a radius that you're willing to like? I know most of your videos are pretty much in the like Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina. Is there? I know you've done like occasionally, like I know you went to like Harry Potter World at one point. You did a video there, but like if someone says like, "Hey, I've got this antique store in Virginia," would you go out that far, or how
Oh
far
yeah.
do you think you'd?
I'd probably. I mean, I've done Gatlinburg, I've done Pigeon Forge, Dollywood, things like that. But I stayed overnight, so I've really got to
Mhm.
plan that ahead of time. Um, and I mean, I've had people suggest things way up near Richmond in Williamsburg, Virginia. I did a toy show just over the border, not far from Mount Airy. I'm
Mhm.
trying to remember, it was a small town that I did. There was a toy show, and that was a lot of fun. It was a good toy. It was a good show. Um, but yeah, like Galax, I'll do that. I actually need to go cover that place. Because a few weeks ago I did Reedsville, and that is actually Reedsville is not too far from Virginia.
Mhm.
It's probably about 20 miles away from the border, if that. And so yeah, usually if it's within a 2 hour,
Yeah.
2 hour drive, I'm okay.
Hmm.
Um, but there are times where I will go further if I plan it way ahead of time, and
Right. Because then
because
you almost
I've got
make
a
a trip
regular
out of it. Yeah.
yeah I've got a regular job too, so it's like I've got to plan it around that as well.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, oh yeah, definitely, because I want to do the Ohio Toy Show.
Oh, that'd be
But
cool. Yeah.
that's a big boy, and there's a big collector's store that one of the vendors that I always talk to at one of the shows always tells me about the one in Virginia Beach,
Hmm.
and it's supposed to be a huge collector store, a toy store. He says and I can't remember the name of it, but I would love to do that. I also want to do there's a and you might know what it's called. It's a comic book store in Florence, South Carolina.
Mm.
Um, it's a huge comic book store.
Yeah. I don't know that. I know they have PowerCon over there. I'm trying
Yeah,
to think of the name of the store. Tim might
yeah.
know
I
if you're
wanted,
here.
and a friend of mine, actually who I work with, wants to do that, and we want to go there. And then I can also cover Bucky's. So
Yeah, nice.
in, in
Always a great
Florence.
destination.
Yeah, yeah. So, and there's other, I've done Columbia, South Carolina. There's a few toy stores, vintage toy stores I've covered, antique shops there in Columbia, gaming stores.
Mm.
There's a lot of stuff in Columbia, South Carolina that I still want to cover. And here's the funny thing: we were in Dilworth yesterday. We're right down the road. And we went to Food Line. We went to one of the grocery stores there. Anyway, so when we were leaving, a brand new card shop opened up. It's a little store. It's in Dilworth, and I was like, and Connie told me, yeah, I meant to tell you about that place, and it's right next to a pizza place, but it's in Dilworth, and
Huh.
just opened up. Looks like it's brand new. It's a small shop, but I'm going to go there and do a video. I need to talk to them because that's the things I like to do. If I find little gems like that, and get people aware,
Yeah.
and it's right in South Charlotte. It's a little shop, right in Dilworth, right near Kenilworth and Park Road. And I don't know if you know where that's at, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I
okay,
didn't know that it was even there. That's cool.
it just opened up, and I was like turning the corner, we're leaving the parking lot. It was I think it was last night, and we were going out of the parking lot, and I looked to the right, and there's a big, Pikachu on the window. And I was kind of peeked in there as we drove by, and I was like, "That's a cool card shop." And I think he's got some collectibles in there too. And I said, "Well, I need to cover that real soon." And the cool thing about it, it's literally maybe a mile and a half from where I live,
Oh, that's
so it
even better.
was very convenient. And then there's just finding stuff like that. So if I find something, even when I'm out of town doing a video, and I see something, I'll jot it down. I'll say I need to come back
Yeah.
to that. And the way I found, like, a good example, Salty Jukebox, I just something randomly just came up on Facebook about them, and I clicked on it, and I was like, "That's pretty cool." It's like an old gas station from the
Mhm.
20s. It was about like 1929 or something like that in the 20s. And then I was like, I need to cover that. So once that's the other thing I do too. I'll go on Facebook, just randomly look around Facebook. I'll do like a search, and that's how I find a lot of these places. It's just but uh, and then again, just finding, like in Columbia, I found a lot of stuff while I was down there. And then there's people who would suggest things to me, like at the antique place. Hey, you need to check that antique place out. And
Right.
so, I'll write it down, put it in my Google, and search and do more research on it.
Yeah.
And like, even like, and the way I find events too, because people say, how do you find these events? And I'll send them information, because I found a lot of stuff on Facebook, believe it or not, under event pages.
Yeah.
And then on my Facebook page, I'll post it there. So
Mhm.
even if I don't do a video on it, at least people will
Right.
know about it, and they can go check it out themselves. So there are times I don't cover everything, but at least I can tell you, hey, go check this out. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. Well,
So
I think you kind of touching on too, like the busyness of it, because I don't think sometimes people don't realize. I think all the work, like you post a video, let's say the video is like 30, 40 minutes long. You don't
right,
see the time that took you to get there. You don't see the time that it took to edit it
yeah,
down, the footage. Is even like, I do these and I never do, this isn't weekly. I just kind of do it whenever because
right,
like to trim this down, to edit it, to get the highlights ready, to do captions, like it's a lot. And I've got a job, you've got a job. So I mean, it's
right.
a lot of work
It,
doing all this.
there's work doing it. Yeah, today's not wasn't too bad because when I did a drive around with the snow and everything. Those aren't too bad because that's like there's not a lot of editing involved with that. I don't have to add music. I don't have to add weird stuff to it. I just want people, because some people, well, actually, most people enjoy the ambiance
Hmm.
of the surroundings. So there's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of times I'll have videos where I don't add anything to it. They just want to hear the crowd, people talking, things like that, or just yeah. Believe it or not, a lot of people they want it to just be organic. I always call it organic, just be
yeah.
natural and like they were there.
Hmm.
So yeah, I get that a lot too. Um, so and people again, like if they ever see me when I like do videos, I'll sometimes be in my office and you'll see the background, and people always ask me, "You need to do a video on your collection so we can see it." So yeah, and I always tell them I will eventually get around to doing that. I thought about doing it this weekend.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
We touched on the organic thing, and this is something where I've like at times as I've wanted to do like vlogs. I've gone to concerts, I've gone to
right,
other like cons. I'm like, oh, I should do like a video, and sometimes I just forget. But other times I worry about like I guess a tug of war between like living in the moment
right,
versus like making like getting the content. So I guess
right,
how do you balance that? Because I do know like if you use that GoPro, and I feel like the GoPro is a good way to just kind of like have it that you're still talking to people, but it's
right,
not like it's like you're stopping to film, like you're just kind of
right.
always filming. So I imagine that might
Yeah,
help a little bit.
yeah, because there's stuff I over film
Hmm.
when I film. I'll have more than enough. It's better to do more than less.
Right.
Um, let me show you just real quick. So this is what I use. Okay. This is the DJI, and I do have the GoPros, but I really don't use them that much because I really go to these guys.
Hmm.
Um, and DJI was well known for, they started with the drones. And then they went into, their technology went into action cameras. So I've got three of these. This is the five, I got the four, and I got the original one, which they still work fantastic. The great thing about this one is you get front and back screens. So if you're doing a selfie, you can see
Yeah.
yourself as well. What I liked about this one is that it's really good in low light, and that's very important. Is low light. So I went to this. It was a step up from my four because of the low light. Now there's a lot of bloggers that are using, or should I say, content creators, um, that are using the Pocket Three. I've got the Pocket Two. Pocket Three is really popular. The only problem I have with the Pocket Three is that it's not waterproof. Okay. And of course, it does the swivel head. You got to be careful with that too because it's very fragile. This is waterproof up to 30 meters, which is 60 feet, and holds a great charge. I think the Pocket 3 does too. But the only thing is it has a little, the button you push on the Pocket 2 and Pocket 3 that will spin the camera around. I mean, doing this is no big deal to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seconds.
But the beauty is that these are tough. And if you drop them, things like that, and if you crack this, you can unscrew it and change it out for your lens. That's your protector. Of course, it goes to 4K if you want to shoot. You do all kinds of shooting. You also do still shots with it,
Hmm.
and it's got the built-in um, stabilizer. It's
Hmm.
very stable. I can run, and you wouldn't be able to tell. So I would, for if somebody's getting into content creating and want to start the YouTube channel, I started with my phone, and
Yeah.
I also started with a little, I can't remember. I think Canon made it. It was a little camera, the Canon one of those Insta cameras for you could do with vlogging. Had a little speaker and little microphone. These have three microphones, so it's up top, back, and front. So it picks up audio really well. There's a lot of accessories you can add to this, which I got a bunch of them, different tripods, different power sources, and things like that. So um, I would recommend looking into the DJI. The four right now, if you're looking at they still have the four out at Best Buy. Is like 299 or even 279,
Yeah.
which is a great price. So
Hmm.
something to think about.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, I mean,
just
I just love how organic your videos are, like you were saying. Is there are some, and my wife is into a lot of these. Like, there's a lot of like people show you like their days, and sometimes you'll see
right,
like you got to take a shot of like yourself waking up, but like that's not the first time they woke up. You have to set up your camera,
right.
then then you go back in bed and you wake up. But I feel like yours are very like like it's as if you were there like hanging out with you, going to the con or going to
Yeah,
the auto show or what have you.
right. Which I need to do. It was funny. One that my guys I work with at work, he's really into cars, and he didn't realize because I do Street Side Classics, which is an amazing supermarket of vintage cars, and he didn't realize that even existed until I'd let him know about it. And he watched the videos, like I'm going there. So just fun things like that that you can do. You don't doesn't mean you have to go buy a car, but
Yeah,
if you're a big car enthusiast and you want to see them up close and just experience that, I mean, it's like a museum too. And a lot of people, after they've watched my video, they just go because they love seeing the cars, and it brings about a bunch of nostalgia to
for
them.
sure.
And if they end up buying a car, that's cool too. So
Yeah.
that helps their business. But I love doing stuff like that because I've got a '66 Mustang myself. So
Oh, sweet.
um, yeah, that I used to have at car shows back in the day, and she needs some work right now. But um, oh yeah, that was one of my bucket list things was to get a Mustang, a vintage Mustang. And I got it a
Mm,
while back. I've had it for a while now, so good 20 something years.
sweet.
So yeah, we used to do car shows and stuff like that. And so Connie really, she still enjoys going to Street Side Classics or doing the car shows with me because
Yeah, yeah.
she's really into that stuff too,
Mm.
like me. So yeah, but and
Well,
then
speak.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to talk about Nerdfest. Is that because you guys, that is fairly new. It was, I
Yeah.
think last year. Last year was your first year, and really fun show to do. So I was always recommending people, go to Nerdfest and check it out because you guys have some really good vendors there. It's a lot of fun, and
I must have had like a mental link because I was about to say like it'd be malpractice if I didn't mention Nerdfest, which is happening in like less than 2 months, and then you just went into
yeah,
it. So I appreciate it.
yeah, no problem.
When
I mean, I
you were
love
kind
doing.
and you let us use your footage for our trailer we did last year, and I think
You can
that
do,
helped a lot of people decide to
yeah,
go.
and,
So we definitely appreciate it.
and it helps my channel. Just to so people can see the other stuff that I do. Um, things like that. I do, Nerdfest is a lot of fun, and I was wanting to ask you too. What was there a re? You don't live in Rock Hill, do you?
Tim and I do. Derek
You
does
do live in
not.
Rock Hill.
Yes. So
Oh,
half the
okay.
team lives in Rock Hill, but half does not.
Okay, that makes sense then. I was wondering why you had selected Rock Hill, then that makes
Yeah.
completely sense. Complete sense.
Yeah. And actually, Tim and I are like next door neighbors. He's like two or three houses down from me. We've got an alleyway, and in the alleyway, he's just like a
Oh,
few
it's not
yards
far at
down.
all. Right,
So yeah,
right. And it's sort of like it'll grow.
yeah.
There are other nerd fests. There's one like in every state almost, I think, but
Hmm.
I think there's one in Florida too that's pretty popular. And so those are growing. I
Hmm.
remember when Charlotte Comic Con was downtown and the old, I think MC Suites, or I can't remember, no, it's called the Plaza or something like that. It was Rick
Right.
and
Yeah.
Dave started downtown. It was a small, I mean, literally, it was a real small con. And of course, we know how big it is now.
Yeah.
But I used to do that just way before I ever did YouTube. But I went to that all the time. And
Hmm.
right downtown on a Sunday afternoon, go down to the Plaza Hotel and go to Charlotte Comic Con. And of course, this is funny. My history with Heroes Con goes back to when it first started in '82 at Eastland Mall when I was young. Used to go to that all the time when Shelton would put that on. And of
Yeah.
course, we
Yeah.
saw that, and that's become a monster. But he still does. That's one thing we missed today was the
Right. Yeah.
Heroes
Because of the
Mini Con
snow.
because of the snow. And there was another con that was going on too that I cover, and but the weather had just shut down everything.
Yeah. It's
So
been an almost every weekend thing for the past 2 weekends.
yeah, yep,
So
yeah. There's been a few things I missed. So that's the hard thing is that you can't predict the weather, and that can affect your
mhm.
uploads for your content for your YouTube. So you
Right.
try to figure out things to do at home. And like I said, thought about covering some of the toys here, some of the history um, of stuff. Like when I was a kid, the two things I collected the most were Mattel's Big Jim, and
Mm.
of course G.I. Joe. And I still have some of my original ones when I was a kid right there. So those guys are some of my original ones that I bought down when I was a kid down in Florida in Clearwater. I still remember my very first GI Joe, and I still have them back there. My mom and I went to this little small toy store in Clearwater, Florida, one night. We were just driving through, and I saw the toy store. I said, "Look, I wanted to go there," so we went in there, and she bought my very first GI Joe, and I still have them.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
I'm gonna do a video on him and some of the other ones. Uh, I've got like about 16 or 17 GI Joes, the
Hmm.
12 inch, the ones, not the little ones, but the ones from the 60s and 70s. And then I probably have about as many big gems in that line from that period too.
Yeah.
So
Was
it is
circling a little
nostalgia.
was circling back a little bit to Nerdfest and also cons in
Yes.
general. Was that something you find yourself kind of like keeping your eye out for when you go to these cons? Like, that's kind of like your fandom, I guess, is GI Joes and things like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And there's some modern stuff too. Um, I like with wrestling figures. I never thought I would get into collecting wrestling figures. And when I was a kid back in the '70s, my dad knew a lot of the wrestlers. I mean, he was good friends with Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, all those guys, Wahoo McDaniel, and then probably about 10 years ago, I started. Not even that. Just started looking at the uh, LJN. wrestling figures.
Mm.
Then, of course, the Jax wrestling figures and started collecting those. But I only collect the wrestlers I grew up with. So I put a limit.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah, I think that's smart. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know any of the new stuff. And
Yeah.
I stop at about 2003.
Hmm.
So, but if they make like they'll make modern ones, like Dusty Rhodes. They came out with a new one recently, of him. It was such a well done sculpt, and I'll still collect those wrestlers that I was familiar with growing up with. If they make a new Bret Hart or Road Warriors, things like that, I'll pick those up, just because of nostalgia.
Yeah.
And then if I find one like the Von Erichs, what was funny is they're not cheap. And I went to a flea market a couple of years ago, and she had a couple of Von Erichs, and for $5 each. I jumped on both of those, of course, because they go for 60, 80. They go up to 100 something bucks each.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, Von, I think we're going over time, but
What
I don't think,
is that when I was actually looking something up, I was because I'm not as familiar with wrestling. That's the family
yeah,
that they made that movie off of, right? The it came out a couple years ago. The
by the Von Erichs.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Uh
that was yeah, I think it was called the Von Erichs or something like that, but
yeah, because I
it
think
was
it's Zac
good.
Efron playing one of them, and it was real. I
Yeah,
watched on a plane. It was, I mean, it breaks your heart because I know they went
yeah,
through. They
the
didn't
whole
even
family.
include everything that that family went through, from my understanding.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
a lot of tragedy, a
yeah,
lot of tragedy.
mhm,
And it was well done. Even though they didn't really look like them, but
yeah,
the way they promoted it and the way they
hmm,
actually presented it,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
they they did a really good job. So I really enjoyed that movie.
y-
Yeah, it was
right.
really well done. Um, and it also created probably new fans of the Von Erichs too.
Hmm.
So if you don't know
Well,
their history,
that's a thing too. Whenever you have like movies, I know sometimes you have like old time fans that are like, this is,
yeah,
I'm a purist, I don't want the new people, whatever. I'm just like there was a Bob Dylan movie that came out last year, and I love Bob
yeah,
Dylan, and some people are like, I've been a fan since the '60s. I'm like, just you need new fans. You can't gatekeep everything,
yeah.
you know?
They have the legacy has to continue, and
Yeah,
through new fans, because
right.
the old fans we're all going to die.
Right.
So,
Well, that's
you
what
know,
I love about Nerdfest. Whether it's
yeah.
Nerdfest or other cons, is like it's cool seeing. I mean, like families get to come together, and like you could have parents showing like, oh, this is what I used to like, collect when I was a kid, and want you to like
Sure.
it too, or I want to see what you like, because you see a lot of like kids showing their parents like, oh, I love this. Anime is getting bigger and bigger over the years, and like let
Oh
me
yeah.
show you what I like. You know.
My other main collection I have is I do a lot of the Universal Monster stuff,
Hmm.
which I love. Anything, vintage, all the way up like NECA makes their whole line of them. Now that's almost like a completest line for me. I do love NECA's horror line, but a lot of the ones I collect are the traditional Universal.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I collect. I'm a big Black Lagoon,
Hmm.
Creature of Black Lagoon fan. I love the old, Boris Karloff, any of the Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, any of those lines I really enjoy
I know
collecting. So
they just recently expanded the Universal park where they've got like a revitalized kind of like classic horror
yeah,
monsters land, and
the
I've seen like
Epic,
clips from that. It looks
yeah,
amazing.
Epic, right, Epic Universe that's one thing I do want to cover eventually is do some for the YouTube channel too. Is go down to Florida, plan a week where I'm down there
Yeah.
and just doing the parks, and covering those. And I
Hmm.
try to cover them differently than other people do, because there's tons
Yeah,
of
there's a lot.
content creators that live in Orlando,
Hmm.
just tons of them, and I watch them. I'll but there's only certain ones I watch that I really enjoy. Um, I love watching like Tim Tracker.
Oh yeah, he's
S-
great. Yeah.
yeah, and Super Enthused. She's fun to watch. Um, and then there's other local. Blue Knight's local, and he's doing really well on YouTube. Is the Carpetbagger? I don't know if you ever heard of the Carpetbagger. Um, but he's up in Waynesville, but he travels the entire United States and does a lot of roadside attractions and amusement parks. He's fun to watch. I get a kick out of him, and he was a good friend of Adam the Woo too. Uh, but Adam is definitely one of the YouTubers that will be missed
Yeah.
because he was real. And when I talked to organic, he was. If you saw him on the video and you met him in real life, he was the same person. He
Yeah.
wasn't.
That's always good.
Yeah, and I try to be the same way too. I mean, that's one
Hmm.
thing my dad, mom taught me: just be yourself. Don't try to be anything else.
Yeah.
Um, be sincere. Uh, be honest, and just be appreciative
Yeah.
of the people who support you. And I am. I'm very
No, and
like you guys. I really love you guys, and I
yeah,
really.
you
Yeah.
well,
So
you've always been great too, and I'm not just saying that because you're here. You've always,
I
whether you're
appreciate it.
always smiling in your videos, you're always, waving at people and, making sure people get seen and all that, and like what you do for the local businesses and local towns. So, I mean, makes a
Oh
huge
yeah.
difference. So
Yep.
it's awesome what you do,
Definitely.
man.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I love doing it, and can hope to do it for many years. So
Well, I wanted
yeah.
to ask you one more thing
Sure.
before we hop off.
Sure. Yeah.
Is I know you've been in the Carolinas. We were talking earlier since about the '70s.
Right.
Do you have a favorite of like North Carolina native foods or establishment, whether it's like Bojangles, Cheerwine, Krispy
Right.
Kreme? Do you have a favorite of those?
You named them all.
the,
Uh,
the Holy Trinity.
the Holy Trinity. Yeah. Probably. You know what? I always love Bojangles
Mhm.
and Krispy Kreme, and
Oh, Cookout. I forgot to mention Cookout. Cookout's a, North
yeah,
Carolina.
Cookout is too. Yeah, and of course Pepsi is New Bern.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm a Pepsi drink. It was funny. I just recently got hooked to zero sugar
Mm,
Pepsi,
yeah.
which is really good.
No,
Um,
I drink a lot of Cheerwine Zero, which like for diet
okay,
drinks, it's pretty comparable. Like it's not, it's not the real thing, but it's close
right.
enough.
And I haven't done the Cheerwine Festival yet.
You should
A friend of
definitely. I
mine.
love that.
It was funny. A friend of mine did it a few months back when they did it, and he said it was crazy crowded.
That's the only downside. Is like we couldn't move. I mean, it's great. I
Yeah,
mean, I
he
love that
said.
it's popular, but
Yeah,
it's so hard to get around.
yeah. I tell you what, I do miss in Charlotte, and I actually went to school with him. I went to school with Andy Price of Price's Chicken,
Oh
and
yeah,
his
yeah.
and his
I never
brother.
got to have it.
Yeah, it was amazing. We've lost a few icons in Charlotte. Of course, Bojangles started here in Charlotte,
Yeah.
and I remember it was over the corner over near West Boulevard,
Hmm.
uh, over there. And I did a little video. And what was sad about it, they tore that building down. But they should do a museum
Yeah,
or
you would think.
something on the original location. Yeah, they'd have the restaurant, but kind of like KFC has theirs,
Hmm.
and they have a little museum hooked to it. And I was like, they need to do that here over on West Boulevard where it originated.
Hmm.
Um, I miss Price's Chicken. I miss Zach's Hamburgers
Mm.
when it was over here near Scully Bar. Funny story about that. A lot of people don't know about Zach's Hamburgers. The guy who originally owned it before it was Zach's um, was the guy who started Taco Bell.
Oh,
In that,
that's
um,
interesting. All right, I never knew
yeah,
that.
he went to California and started Taco Bell. But there's history behind that building, and it was actually one that, if you look at the original structure of Zach's, a lot of people get the idea for McDonald's from that building, which is no longer there. And it was funny because when they tore it down, I grabbed a few of the bricks. Um, so I have a few of the original bricks from the store from the restaurant,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
yeah, I saved them. And I was, and I need to go back. But Mount Holly, everybody was wondering what happened to Zach's hamburger sign,
Hmm.
which was built back in the day when it was, back in the '60s and stuff. But it's down on Mount Holly. I was driving around, and like I said, I find stuff like that. I was driving around, and this huge fence of a warehouse, and behind the fence is the original Zach's hamburger sign,
Wow.
yeah, and a few other signs. But they're in Mount Holly, and it looks like they're going to probably restore them, which I think is great. Kind of like they did the
Yeah.
Queen Park sign over there near Old Mecklenburg. So
Hmm.
hopefully they'll have that somewhere. Maybe they'll have it because once a week at Old Mecklenburg they do have the hamburgers from
Oh,
Zach.
wow. I
I
didn't
think
know
it's on
that.
Wednesday or Thursday night. You can go in there and get a Zach's. hamburger and French fries. But they had great flounder too. Connie used
Yeah,
to get the flounder, fried flounder from them all the time.
my wife and I have to
So
make a date night out of that. That sounds fun.
yeah, check it out if you ever check out the Old Beckenberg, and I think it's either Wednesday or Thursday night. So if
I
you
know.
guys need to go get a good burger,
Yes, we
that's good.
should. Well, I know like
Yeah.
Charlotte's, one of the fastest growing cities in the country, but it's
Oh yeah.
it's cool how like there's a lot of really cool new stuff, but there's also a lot of
Right.
like ways that there's homages to what used to be, whether it's like Camp North End or like the Park Road Center. They've kind of done
Right.
up more, but they still have like a lot of classic stuff there. So it's cool seeing that kind of the balance of the new versus the old.
Yep. Yep. And it's funny because I did the snow video today, the two of them, which I'll have the second one up tonight after we're done. I went to Park Road Shopping Center because a lot of people don't know the history of that. That used to be Billy Graham's family's farm. So was there. That all that land was theirs at
I didn't
one
realize, I
time.
didn't know that. I've lived in this area my whole life. I had no idea.
That was Billy Graham's farm. Yeah. And my dad was one of the people that saved the home from being destroyed back in the early 80s, late 70s, or early 80s.
Yeah.
Um, and saved the home. But the home's now at the library, so at Billy Graham Library. And but
Okay.
that all that land was theirs. And when Connie was little, the South Park Mall was a dairy farm. So, and she used to go as a kid. They used to go on field trips
Wow.
at the
It
dairy
just says, and
farm.
then now you think of what that place is now with all the development. I mean, it's
Yep,
got to give you whiplash a little bit.
yep, big time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, um, I'll eventually do a video on the all my vintage stuff back here.
Yeah, definitely. When we'll
But
share it. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it'd be a lot of fun to do
And
that. So.
yeah. Well, I just wanted to thank you again for everything you do, not just for us, because I'm sure we'll see you at the upcoming Nerd
Oh, you
Fest on the
will.
21st, but also just what you do for a lot of cons in the area, a lot of small businesses in the area. It really,
Oh
really
yeah.
does make a big difference for everybody.
And I love doing it, and it's great. And I've developed a lot of good friendships because of that. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, because it was funny because some of the shops I go into, they're not quite sure what I'm doing when I
Yeah.
film, and I kind of explain it to
Scalping the
them.
place out.
Yeah, and then they'll after the video comes out, then the next time I do go, I have awesome rapport with them, and they love that I did that. And then they
Mhm.
understood what I was doing,
Right.
and then they want me to come back and do more. Hey, we're gonna have this event or whatever. It's like cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Formed
and
like a
that's what I love
community.
about it. Yep, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I appreciate it, and I hope 2026 is a great year for you, going to lots of different places. I'm sure you'll stay busy, and we're looking forward to
Oh yeah.
seeing all the ventures you go on.
Oh yeah. I love doing it. All right, guys.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again. Thanks for coming on.
You guys take care.
All right.
Good, Tyler. I appreciate you having me, Tyler. Everything you
Yep.
do, man.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. All right.
Oh,
Talk
you're
to you later.
welcome.